Hello, we are back. This is Tyese from the Tyese Show, and I'm so glad that you are here to join us. As you know, on the Tyese Show, I interview guests from all different backgrounds, and this can be entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs. This can be people who are working as CEOs. They may be harnessing an entire and building an empire. We're looking at motivational speakers. I have also interviewed fashion designers. They could have, oh my goodness, I've had chefs, I've had poets, I've had authors. Okay, I've had nonprofit owners. I have had DJs, singers, rappers, you name it, performing artists, entrepreneurs. So here we go today. I have a beautiful and illustrious guest with me today. Her name is Tiffany. And Tiffany Barnes, I'm so glad to have you on. Tiffany is a motivational speaker and an event hostess.
Yes.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, Thais. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. You're so
Yes.
welcome. It's good for you to be here. It's
Yes.
good. So I'm going to jump right in because I'm so
Okay.
excited to have everyone hear about your journey. Of
Yes.
course, on the Tyese Show, we are here to make sure that we motivate, encourage, uplift, inspire. And we're
Yes.
also going to get into one of my favorite topics, and that is God's plan for your life
Absolutely.
and your purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Miss Tiffany. So, you are or have been in radio broadcasting. You have a foundation in radio broadcasting, and you were actually co-host with two separate shows.
Yes.
Okay, and tell the audience a bit about that.
Oh my goodness, that's been an amazing journey. I started out, and I had to think about this. It started out for me, I would say around maybe 20, maybe 13 when I first started going into radio. And I co-hosted a like community-based show with amazing woman by the name of Joy Adams.
Okay.
Joy had me come on to one of her shows, and she was like, "Look, sis, I want you to be a co-host with me." And I was like, "What?" I said, "I know nothing about radio. I have no clue what to say." And yes, the A1 radio started out for me back in about maybe 2011, 2012. And
Mm-hmm.
that catapulted me into a different genre of radio. And when I say genre, I went over to the gospel side. I'll never forget, I had a woman come up to me by the name of Deltra Perryman, right? And she
Mm-hmm.
said, "Girl," she started prophesying over my life. She was like, "You are to be on the gospel side of radio." And literally, I was like, "What is this woman talking about?" At that time, I had given my life to the Lord, but
Mm-hmm.
I did not know which way the Lord was taking me. So in 2015, I started out on the Good Life Gospel Show. Shout out to my brother AJ and my brother George. I started out doing a segment called The Motivational Moment. And
Okay.
from there, it was like, and what God would do, he would give me segments to share with people to encourage them on this journey of life, because on this in this life we do have journeys, and we just have moments where we need to be encouraged. So yeah, that's kind of how I started out in radio.
And you said that it was only after one show that you were on as a guest,
Yes.
and then she said, "Come on, Miss Joy Adams." She said,
Yes.
"Come on and be my co-host."
Yes, come on and be my co-host. And I was like, oh my goodness. But during that time, I had some amazing opportunities. I met some amazing people right here in Baltimore, which
Mm-hmm.
was literally, it was just mind blowing, you know. So it was awesome. I will never forget those who helped to create that foundation for me along the way, in radio. So when I
Wow.
have interviews, I will always bring them up because they are really a core factor, and they played an amazing role with me in radio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and Miss Joy, she had embraced you right away. So you
She
made
did.
you made a heck of an impact just in one interview. Do you
Absolutely.
remember what the foundation for that interview was?
Um,
Or the
I
topic?
don't. It was like Tyese. She had me come on and literally called me or texted me or sent something to me like, sis, you're my co-host. And it's so interesting because we were surrounded at a table. It was about maybe four of us at that particular time, but it was
Mhm.
something about me that I want to say that the Lord led on her heart to allow me to have that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So your personality at the time and what what you had to speak on, and just the knowledge that you had, and you were meant to inspire and impact. So
Mhm. Yes, and I think at that particular time I was kind of searching for my purpose. And I said,
mhm.
God wants to use my voice, right? Because it was something about my voice that would draw people in. Like I could be somewhere and people will be like, oh, that's Tiffany just by my voice. So I don't know what it
Wow.
is that God put on the inside of me when it comes
Mhm.
to my voice. So
Mhm.
I'm still learning that as I'm going, but I'm beginning to see more and more as He has journeyed with me over these last few years, allow me to go into different arenas and speak at different events and host events. It's my voice.
Mhm.
And, as a child, I was loud. You know what I mean? I was hyperactive. And when I say what the enemy meant for
Uh-huh.
evil, God will turn it around for the good.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So how many years did you do
Well,
radio?
like I said, I started out in 2011, around 2012, and
Mhm.
going into that 2015 year, I stayed on track with the Good Life Gospel Show on Awesome God Radio. And I would say probably around when the
Mhm.
pandemic hit, things began to kind of shift with radio for myself and for my team. But we were still virtually going live and still going forward. And yeah, so it's been over the last, what, 10 years, 10, 12 years almost. Yes, it's been
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm. Mhm. So you were saying how, you were wondering what your
Yes.
purpose was, and you knew you wanted God to use you, but you really did not know how he would. Did you have other plans
um
that ended up being
I
shifted?
don't really truly recall it to be other plans. I think I was just kind of sitting back, like thinking to myself, okay, Lord, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna be
Mhm.
what am I gonna be used for? Because I know that you have a plan for me, but I don't know which way you're taking me. And sometimes that's the journey of trusting God.
Right.
That He will take you into places and spaces that you have no idea. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna follow you, and I'm gonna let you lead me to where you want me, where you want me to be, and what you want me to do. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm. Look, you were so smart about it. I had to uh learn to try to become one of those people that understands that we are to sit back and
Yes.
listen, like you said, because I've always been pretty much just the
Okay.
opposite, which is definitely not a
It's all
good
good.
thing. As I'm maturing
Yeah.
spiritually, I know better now. So I
Yeah,
do better.
listen, and we all been there. I still had my hard headed
But
moments. Okay,
yeah, but I was one of those that sitting there planning my life all the way
listen,
until it's over.
I
I
get it.
mean, like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to school for
Yeah,
this, and then I'm going to do this type of work, and then I'm going to start this type of business, and I'm going to do,
yeah,
and all these. I mean, and they say write it down, write it down. I mean, I'm sitting, I'm writing down, I'm planning this, that, and the other, and
yeah.
then what
Write the
happens?
vision and make it plain.
God said, right, which is a good
Absolutely.
thing, but you have to understand that it works when it's
Oh yeah,
God's plan, for your
absolutely.
life, and in
In
his
His timing.
timing, and in his timing. He wants so much more for us, than what we can
Oh
even
my
plan for
gosh.
ourselves
He said,
anyhow.
I know in Jeremiah 29:11, he says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you, a plan to prosper you and not to harm you, you know. So, yes. Yes. There's more to that
Mhm.
text, too. And a lot of
Mhm.
times we just quote that, but there's some more underneath of that as well that, you know, we have to be able and willing to, as my pastor
Mhm.
preached a series, what, maybe 2 weeks ago, Jesus Take the Wheel, you know, letting the Lord literally just guide you and you literally surrendering to the plan that he has for your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I didn't see uh I saw a lot of doors
Yeah.
close until I more made the decision really to really just follow my
Yes.
steps, to really follow his or his rather order
Yeah.
steps for me, and to just sit back and to just be
Mm.
patient. And because I think that's one of the hardest things. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else,
Patience, right? Ooh, I know all about it.
but I'm one of those that it's kind of hard
I
to be
hear you.
patient. You when you want things to happen and you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna go well because
Listen,
okay, have planned.
I planned this
No,
thing.
no, that's not
Okay.
right. That's not how it's supposed to go
Yeah.
at all. You
Listen, we live and we
know?
learn, though.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm, mhm. But as you as you develop more into a
That's
relationship
right.
with Christ, you learn that you're not supposed to lean on
Come
your own
on.
understanding. So and that's what I had to
Absolutely.
learn. And then prayed the prayer of
Yeah.
Jabez, and once I made that decision, I mean, I know it's in God's timing, but when I tell you, stuff did start happening like
Listen,
right away, like
and
right
we'll get
away.
into that more as we discuss in the interview. And
Hmm.
this is why it is so important to be able to hear his voice because we are his
Yes,
creation. What creator would not want to speak to what he created, right? In his likeness and in his image.
exactly.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
when
Yeah. So look, so let's
yeah,
get into it. Go
yeah.
ahead now.
So, this journey for me it's been interesting over the last almost 5 years. Um,
Hmm.
my dad passed in 2020, so we know that was a time of whew, so much, right? So much going on at that particular time,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
during that time, I did not foresee the shaking that was literally getting ready to take place with my life. Um, After my
Hmm.
dad's passing, I became very depressed. I just didn't see a way out. And I think I shared this a few months
Hmm.
ago on a podcast that I was on for the first time, Thais, that I was literally thinking about taking my life
Mm.
because I felt as
Hmm.
though there was no more hope. No more hope. What am I here for? I had just had a grandson that was a year old. My daughter's here, my family's here. But I just figured that, hey, there's nothing left. But I remember one day being in my closet and the
Hmm.
Lord told me to get up. Literally, those were the words that I heard, get up. And from that moment,
Hmm.
I knew that God wanted to do something with my life, but I just couldn't figure out what else it was from this point on. In November of 2020, the Lord told me, He said, I want you to bring entrepreneurs together to display their gifts and talents. I said, do
Hmm.
what? I said, I have no idea how to do this. Bring what together
Hmm.
and do what? So in March of 2021, I launched my first business networking event. And that was when Kingdom Connections was given birth to. And Kingdom Connections is literally, and I tell people it's a ministry. It's a ministry to bring God's people together. During that time of the pandemic, I think that people had time, Thais, to create. We were in the house. A lot of people wasn't working. And I think a lot of people birthed businesses during that time. So when I hosted that first event in March of 2021, I was like, okay, what is this? What is the
Mhm,
purpose of this?
mhm, mhm.
Thais, it was so
Right.
much more than bringing people together to display their gifts and talents. God was literally using me, and this is prophetic over my life, right? To help
Mhm.
people to come together for His glory, right? And to support each other with a kingdom mindset. So I said,
Right,
wait a minute.
right.
Okay, I did the first one. People was like, girl, when you doing your second one? I'm like, look, I just wanted to get this first one out of the way. So here comes the second
Right.
one, Thais. Here comes the
Mhm,
third one.
mhm.
Here comes the fourth one, right? Kingdom Connections, Business Network, and Event Pop-Up Shops, right? And literally, I've been going thus far since 2021.
Mm-mm. And you are very right. In that in
Yeah.
2020, that definitely, I mean, going through so
Mm.
much with not being able to leave out the house, maybe you
Yeah.
lost your job or you couldn't go to your
Yeah.
job, people
Yeah.
passing away, people getting sick, people being having fear of getting
Yes.
sick. Um, I I've had COVID. It wasn't in
Yeah.
2020, 21. I didn't have COVID until 2023,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
end, the end of 2023, right? Actually, right around Christmas.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. Um, but during that time, it made people realize that you cannot rely on a
Huh.
job. So it did birth a lot of
Yeah.
businesses.
Let me tell you,
It birthed a lot of
I
small
got to
businesses.
see so much.
I wrote my first book in 20 I was writing it in 2019.
Okay.
I finished it in 2020 and put it out around the end of
Okay.
2020. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
see how you
Yeah.
were being prepared for something that I don't think any of us seen that coming, you know?
No.
And
No.
it's been how can I say this? I will say this, in spite of the loss, I have learned to trust God like I have never trusted him before. And when I say that, he'll use anything and anybody to get your attention.
Mhm.
The question is, are you willing to be attentive to what he's saying? So it was like, okay, God, I'm learning to live a whole new life, Thais. This thing is called
Mhm.
life after loss. Now hear me out. I tell people grief comes in different forms. It's just not
Mhm.
death,
Mhm.
right? You can grieve the loss of a friendship.
Yes.
You can grieve the loss of a relationship, so the loss of a job. Grief comes in different
The
forms,
loss
right?
of a job.
But during this
Mhm.
time, I was grieving. But here we are with the topic of today's show, from pain to purpose.
From pain to
So
purpose.
in
Yes.
that
Mhm.
birthing room is what I'm going to call it, because I truly feel like that's where I was, right? In that birthing room,
Mhm. Mhm.
I was able to take that pain that was down on the inside and turn it into what God truly created Tiffany to do.
Right. Right.
I didn't foresee this thing coming at all, but when I tell you, He will find a way to get the glory out of any situation.
Now, hindsight being 2020, do you feel like you can pinpoint why God needed to get your attention? And never that
Yeah,
grief is grief. I mean, it is
yeah.
hurtful and for a long time. And like you said, it led you to a depression. But can you, prior to that, can you see to your father's passing, can you say, now I see
I think I can
why God
now.
needs my
I think I
attention?
can now, because I
Mhm.
truly feel like Thais, I'm on the other side. God told me that this
Yes.
year of
Mhm.
25 was my year of grace, that I have mourned. Listen, in the Bible,
Mhm.
I can't listen. I don't know what scripture it is, but he gave them a certain amount of time to mourn and grieve, and I think it was 30 days. And it wasn't that he's telling
Mm.
you after these 30 days that you forget this thing, right? But I'm going to give you time to do this. But he told me that 25 was my year of grace.
Hmm.
And I believe that I tell people all the time, God work through numbers. You know, some people want to get overzealous when it comes to numbers, but God works through numbers. You know, and with that five being on the end
Mhm.
and five being the year of grace, the number of grace, excuse me, this is my grace year. And when I tell you, I am literally seeing God move so quickly and so swiftly, Thais, with what He had told me to do.
Mhm.
And a few weeks ago, I was kind of a little hesitant. I was like, Lord, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, what do you want me to do? So it was time for me to step back into what He has called me to do. And I finally got my flyer created. And when I tell you, since I got that flyer created and has shared it, posted, people sharing it for me, these opportunities are literally like just coming from everywhere, Thais. But I know it's the Lord. So sometimes we feel like, oh, we got to second guess stuff or we don't know. Listen, I know that this is His doing in my life in
Mhm.
this particular season
Mhm.
that I'm in. I don't have to second guess
Right.
it. I don't have to second guess it. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
have to second guess it.
Mhm. A lot of times, yeah, yeah, a lot of times things will just fall
Yeah,
in your lap. And you're like, "Okay, this can't be anything but," because you know it's not your own
exactly.
doing. And you better not
Listen,
do this, and you better not me.
it's no way possible, but I am grateful. Hear me out. I'm
Mhm.
grateful for the platforms of those that host podcasts that allow us to come on and speak about His goodness and to
Mhm.
speak about His glory. Because if we don't speak on, Thais, I can't be a part of anything that doesn't allow me to speak about His glory.
That's
You know,
right.
I can't do it. I wouldn't even feel like myself. You know what I mean? But I'm grateful for the
Mhm.
opportunities that have come forward to allow us to come on to podcasts and to radio shows to be able to speak about the goodness of the Lord.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I'm so glad that you mentioned it like that because, um, one thing that I wrestled with was whether or not to
Hmm.
transform the content of the
Yes.
podcast, because when I was doing the podcast back in
Okay.
2022, it sure wasn't always
I hear you.
glorifying
I hear
the
you.
Lord. Okay. I interviewed entrepreneurs just like I
Okay.
do now. And but and I went on the therapeutic
Okay.
edutainment. Okay. So, like, in other words, the entrepreneur could come on and discuss their
Okay.
journey and how it was therapeutic for
Okay.
them, but I didn't put God
Come
first in
on.
that. In my podcast, I ended up shutting
Okay.
down. Okay. And I said, well, I prayed on it, God, should I bring the
Mm-hmm.
podcast
Mm-hmm.
back. Um, and if so, I want to make sure that it does what
Come
you
on.
want it to do. Okay. I don't want to be podcasting just to be
Listen.
podcast, just to say I have a podcast,
Listen.
just to be one.
And Thais, this is what I said about these networking events. I said, God, I'm this these ain't being done just because they're being done in other ways, right? I need you
Mm-hmm.
to show me the way to do these events. Show me
Right.
how to do these events. Connect me with the right people, God. Let the people that are purpose, that are supposed to be here, to come through the
Mm-hmm.
doors, right? And that's how you and I met.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
how you and I met.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you, I actually started not to come
Wow.
because I was technically working that day.
Yes.
So instead, and I do mental health counseling, psychiatric
Yeah.
rehab counseling. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna bring my client with me.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with it.
And even though my client was young, we can't dismiss
Yes.
what she was able to get out of that.
Yes.
you know
Wow.
she got to see she got to see entrepreneurs, she got to see people network, and she got to see their
Wow.
products, and hear people speak,
Amazing.
and in addition to that, people that
Yeah.
look like her.
Amazing, right?
Okay, because that's important as well.
Yes.
She got, and being a female, she got to see a lot of females, a lot of
Yes.
women that really were doing their thing and living their
Absolutely. That's
purpose.
it. That's it.
So I said, you know what? This is our little outing today, and this is what I'm gonna take baby girl to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing her. Absolutely.
So
Yes.
it worked out, and then of course I was there as well to support who invited me, Miss
Yes. My
Tasha,
girl.
Tasha
The
Brockington,
best
who
sweet
owns
potato
this is
pies in
little
Baltimore
shout.
City, honey.
Yeah, I was about to say
Yes.
definitely shout out to Tasha
Yes.
Brockington of Mrs. B's Pies. Yes, the best sweet potato pies for this side. I'm gonna say probably on the
Yes. Let me
East
tell you,
Coast.
Thais, when my dad passed, right? Of course, I had so much stuff coming to my door, right? So many people were dropping stuff off. Listen, listen, just dropping off and going, right? Dropping off, look, mask and all,
Hmm.
dropping off and going. But somebody had reached out to me. I believe her name is Pam Mintz. And Pam reached out to me. She said, "Girl,
Hmm.
I just want to,
Yeah.
I want to donate 2 sweet potato pies to your family, right?" And when I tell you, when I tell you, I can laugh about it now. Thank you, Lord. When I got them
Right.
pies, let me tell you something. I ain't bought a sweet potato pie from nobody else since. And it's been almost 5 years. I'm telling you.
And that's when that was five
Yes,
years
almost
ago.
5 years ago. I'm telling you.
Look, we're not gonna call out some of the other sweet potato pie
Yes.
brands.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I told Tasha, I told her
Mhm.
one day, I said, "You're gonna be at my events. You're gonna be at my networking events." And I'm so glad that she was able to be a part of the last event in November. And I'm just so grateful to have had her there. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. And I like the
Yes.
name Kingdom
Yeah.
Connections. Do you remember how that came
Well,
about?
let me go back because I want to piggyback. Kingdom Connections actually started out as a t-shirt apparel line. So I birthed my first T-shirt
Mhm.
in I think
Okay.
October or November of 2019. The title of that shirt was PIT, Place Intended Transition, and it was in reference to the life of David in Psalms chapter 40, verse 2. He brought me out of a horrible pit, right? Now, mind
Mhm.
you, I give birth to this shirt um, probably a year before my dad passed, almost a year before my dad passed, right? Had no idea that I was really going to go into
Mhm.
one of those moments of feeling like I was in a pit, right? And I was buried
Right.
with no help. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Crying out for something to take place in my life.
Mhm.
And then I gave birth to another shirt titled COVID. Christ overcame victory and death. God would speak to me through acronyms, right?
Mm.
So yeah, Thais, the support
Okay.
from these t-shirts, oh my goodness, it was mind blowing. And then I just had one T-shirt that had the Kingdom Connections logo on it, and it the support was
Mhm.
just amazing. It was amazing. Like I see people out. People would send me pictures of people in public that had the shirt on. Like, listen, that's my friend's brand. That's her T-shirt. You know what I mean? So it's just been so interesting how God has
Yes.
literally moved and breathed on Kingdom Connections and just took it into different directions. So I'm just so grateful and humble, Thais. It's been an amazing journey.
Yes. Yes, it
Yes, it
sounds like
has.
it. It sounds like it. So what advice would you give to people who are feeling like they're just going
Oh,
through and it's hard to pull
oh
themselves
my
up
gosh.
and they may even want to start a business but just on that
Mm.
struggle.
What I would say is this: I think what helped me the most was community and staying connected.
Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
I say that, the staying connected side is more of don't lose the source of resources, right? Hear me out. And when I say that, I'm talking about you just never know who you could be connected to that could change your life, right? So in this moment, I have literally I've lived
Mhm.
this, right? And it was a
Mm.
time, Thais, where I said, kind of questioned my faith a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I just couldn't understand how God allowed this to happen, right? But I also saw His sovereignty and His grace and His mercy through all of this. He's never left me. He's
Mhm.
provided for me and my family. He's kept me. Oh my gosh, he's restored me, right? And it was really about me really being planted in a place to be fed, Thais, because
Mm.
if I had not been connected
Mhm.
to that, I
Right.
wouldn't I, I wouldn't be where I am in him today. So I had to continue to get fed during that time, Thais, even if it was via Zoom or over social media. I had to hear a word. I had to hear something that
Yes.
encouraged me to keep going and to keep fighting, right? So that's what I want to say today. Yes, we go through moments of pain. We go through times of hurt. Even Jesus wept. He knows about
Mhm.
pain and loss. So I was like, wait a minute, I
Right.
have a savior that has felt these things. So on my side of
Mhm. Mhm.
humanity, right? Let
Right.
me let me have my moment, right? It
Mhm.
was a time where I said, okay, it's okay to not be okay, but I'm going to continue to hold on to what God uh, placed on the inside of me. And I'm going to continue to just trust Him even through this. Yes, it's been some painful moments, Thais. I've lost other family members. My God, over the last 4 to 5 years that I was close to, that played a huge role in my life. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think God taking my dad from this earthly side has literally I don't even look at death the same anymore. So sometimes he'll cause things
Mm.
to happen
Mhm.
to change your perspective in the way that you think and how you view and see things. So during that time of mourning, and that time of grief, I have literally been able to shift my perspective and my thinking on how I view things and how I see things. So it's definitely not the same. But yes, to piggyback on your question, to an entrepreneur that is thinking about starting a business, listen, keep the Lord first in that thing. I'm telling you, because it was a time where, hear me out, Thais.
That's it.
Let me tell you this because this is kind of funny.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I got the networking events out of the way. What more can I do? All right, let me start this mix and mingle thing, right? So look, I did one event, and the Lord was like, that's not what I told you to do. I said, okay. So in, I want to say May of 2024, I was in my kitchen. He said, if you don't get back to doing what I told you to do, because I said this was it for me. I was like, I'm done doing these networking
Mhm.
events. It's oversaturated. I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more, right? But I stood in that kitchen
Mm.
in May of 2024, and he spoke to me so clearly. He said, if you do not do what I have called you to do, you're going to forfeit the assignment that I have on your life. So once I got that instruction, right? I put that
Mhm.
flyer out for
Mhm.
the event in August of 2024. We hosted a networking event for Black owned businesses because August is Black Business Month.
Mhm.
And then I had an event in November and I closed out in 2024. I said, let me get back to doing what the Lord has told me to do. Do you hear me? Because I was trying to take a different route with that thing, right? And listen, some people showed up. Some people showed up. He like, but that ain't what I
Right,
told you to do.
right. What? When I tell you, look, I can sit here and
I'm telling you.
laugh because when I tell you that you're speaking to
Yeah.
me, okay? You're speaking to me, but I know that that speaks to
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
people out
Uh-huh.
here because we will be given, like you said, we will be given the
Come on.
assignment and then want to sit there and switch things up and tweak
Listen.
this and add a little and take a little away and like what?
I'm telling you.
I just vision God shaking his head like
I'm telling you.
it's not. This is absolutely not. This is not what I told you
Yeah.
to do. I said do this, and I didn't say that you get to add to it.
Exactly.
You don't
You
get
don't
to
get to
do
do
that.
it. You don't get to do it. It reminds me of Jonah. In the book of Jonah, God gave him an assignment. He told him what to do. He gave him a simple instruction, but he decided to go a different way. And listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
God caused the storm. So listen, I keep on telling people, stop giving the enemy so much credit and leeway with stuff. God caused the storms to take place in your life as well. It's in His book.
Oh, oh, stop! Look, don't be coming on my show and speaking to me now.
Okay, it said that the Lord caused a great
Yeah,
storm, not the enemy.
I was recent. Yeah, I was recently told, um, because I definitely have had a habit of doing that. I was recently told, stop giving the enemy
Mm,
so much
mm,
credit.
mm. Yeah,
But look, by more than
come
one
on.
person. You're number three, so I'm gonna say three
Yeah,
strikes.
you
I'm
out,
out.
Thais.
Okay, I got it.
You out, girlfriend. Yes. Mm, mm, mm.
I got it, and I hope everybody else got
Yes,
it
I'm
too.
telling
I
you.
understand because because Miss Tiffany didn't come on here to play. She came on here to tell. Look, to drop a whole lot of
Yes,
gems. Okay, this is what
that's
it
it. And to drop some
is
wisdom.
when
Mm,
some wisdom, and I mean, and you can hear the spiritual
yes,
maturity, and I mean, we continue to grow, we continue to to be spiritually
yeah,
formed, in Christ, is there's not a we have arrived,
exactly.
that in itself is always
Yes.
a journey,
Working out
you
your
know,
own salvation,
but
right? So let's
Oh yeah. Oh
listen.
yeah.
I get it.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yes.
Paul said.
Yes. Mm,
Definitely. Definitely. And that's so oh my goodness. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, I almost cannot believe you just said that because you know what? Now I know, and I mean I've had plenty of interviews. I absolutely enjoyed
yes.
myself. The guests enjoyed themselves, and all of that, and did so much to give
Yeah.
value, bring value to the platform. But when I tell you, okay, and on even this can be and this can be aired
Yeah,
everywhere. Okay. Of course,
absolutely.
right? This is what we're privy to now with this WWW. But you just said work out your
Mm-hmm.
salvation. And I said, Paul,
Yes.
okay. I'm in school right
Okay.
now and started not that long ago. Okay. Just summer of last year of 2024. But started school for Masters in
Mm.
Divinity. And I have seen
Yes.
Philippians and chapter
Okay.
4 pop up when I tell you now that when you said that
Mm-hmm.
just now, that is about, and I text my mom about this because I said Philippians keeps popping
Mm-hmm.
up. Okay. So now you are about you speaking is about the fifth
Mm.
time. Okay. Right in that
Yeah.
section of the scripture that has popped up for
Mm.
me. Okay. And popped up after I had a
Mm.
dream. And in my dream, I was asked to preach a sermon.
Wow. Wow.
And I can see, and my mother said to write it
Yeah.
down. Okay. So I wrote down the details, what the venue
Yeah.
looked
Write it
like.
down.
Okay. Because I could
Yes.
see it.
Vision.
I
Mm-hmm.
could see it. I could see how the place looked. I could see tables. Like it didn't look
Yeah.
like a church. And another thing is always be
Always be
ready.
ready.
Al-
Yeah.
Always be ready. Because I'm telling you, in the dream, I didn't even know I was going to be speaking
Mm.
that day.
Wow.
That was clear. That was
Yeah.
very vivid in
Yeah.
the dream. This wasn't you have months to
Mm.
prepare. This wasn't somebody coming to me and saying, "Hey, I'm having look this event. I'm having an event um in the
Right.
summer, in the winter, and hey, you
You got
have
time.
time to
Come on.
prepare to." No, and this is what the venue title is, and this is what it's about, and this
Yeah.
no, that it was so clear in my dream that someone asked me to
Mm.
replace a speaker.
Wow.
That something
Mm.
happened, and it was Tyese, can you do this?
Yes. Mm.
And in my dream, I had notes open. I can see
Okay.
that, and it was in my notes. I saw Philippians written down in my
Wow.
handwriting.
Wow.
And since then,
You're going to continue to be
like
reminded. Yes. 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 Oh my goodness. Mm. That's how God works. I'm telling you.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. All right, but getting back to you like I said, your level of spiritual maturity. I'm sure you have an entire ministry with Kingdom
Yes.
Connections, which by the way, connections is spelled with a
Yes.
K. So everyone, I'm sure you've seen the
Mm.
ticker by now and how to uh um how to reach Miss Tiffany
Yeah.
Barnes and now Kingdom Connection. So now you've had about how
Ooh.
many events
I think I've
now
had
are you at now?
I think I've had about maybe 8 or 9 so far over the last few years because I only Thais do these events. I do one in the spring.
Mhm.
I will always
Okay.
host one in August because that's Black Business Month, and I try to do one in the
Mhm.
fall. But the winter I feel like is a time that the Lord gives me to kind of just recoup and you know um, just kind of get replenished and filled up because listen, these events take time and they take hard work with marketing, networking, and sharing. And my prayer, and I told this in the last
Mhm.
the last
I
event
know it.
podcast that I was on, that my prayer is that God will send me people that want to participate in these events, right? Because guess what? Sometimes you'll get people
Mhm.
that just want to be a part of something. Hear me out, just to connect and just to be there for ulterior motives and different things like that. But my prayer is that God will send
Right.
me the right people to host these events, to participate, to share the flyers, to market on their end, because it's their business as well. I always tell people, this ain't about me. This event is ours. This is not Tiffany's event. This is our event. So
Mhm.
that's one of
Mhm.
the prayers
Mhm.
that
I
I
love
pray
it.
over Kingdom Connections, is that God will send me the people that want to truly be connected, to be a part of these
Right.
events. Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
And that's what networking is
Yes.
about. But in the events that you're doing, they've been they're God breathed.
Yes. Whew. I needed to hear that. Yes.
And yeah, that's the
That's the
beauty in
beauty.
it. So no more
No,
mix and
look, no
mingle.
more mix and mingle sites. And listen, it gives people an opportunity. Listen, I've connected with so many people. Listen, that must be the Holy Spirit that put that power on the inside. Because I'm going to jump in your DM and I'm going to let you know. Listen, my name is Tiffany Barnes. I host business networking events for small businesses. I came across your Instagram page. Would you like to be a part of my event? Listen, I had people that was in low places, Thais, that I reached out to, that was getting ready to give
Mhm.
up. Okay, and they came in contact with myself, right, and decided to push forward and to be a part of a part of these events, and to
Right.
and to
Mhm.
be on this opportunity to have to connect with other entrepreneurs. I was getting with
Right.
one guy, Global Grinders. He came out for the first time in November. I had to call him up. I said, "Where you at?" He was running a little bit late. He said, "Miss Tiffany, but I'm on my way. I'll be there, right?" Listen, he stood there in November at the event you were at. He spoke before you. He said, "Man, listen, I was in a low place, but I came in contact with Miss Tiffany. She jumped in my DM and literally gave me hope for this brand. This ain't about me.
Mm.
This ain't about
Mm.
me."
Mhm. Right.
And I think he was a little bit
Mhm.
hesitant at first whether or not he was going to be a part of it, but something ended up coming up. I think somebody ended up canceling. I said, "Listen, I got a fee that's already paid for you, brother. You can get it. You come on and be a part of this event."
Right. Right. Young guy,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And this is why
Mhm.
I thank God that I did not stop. Even when the route was looking a little bit different, he reared me back in.
Mhm.
And I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for his grace to say, "Listen, even when you was trying to take that route, listen, through your obedience, I'm gonna rear you back in so you can get back on track with this thing." You
Yes.
know?
Yes, 'cause it's your
Yeah, that's what it
ministry.
is. It is a ministry. So with this 2025 year that's here, I am seeking his guidance on what's next. But I know that I will be doing an event this year. Listen, Thais, God has such a sense of humor. I had a lady reach out to me last week, right? She said that a response that I had sent her was sitting in her drafts for months. I think she had reached out to me back in August to be a part of the event, right? But she
Mhm.
wasn't able to. But she sent me a message the other
Mhm.
day telling me about her business, what she does. She said, "Look, Tiffany, I just want to find out if you hosting any events in the 2025 year." I said, "Look at God. He will make sure that you are
Right.
doing what he has called you to do."
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put something together. It's
Mhm.
January. Maybe I'll do something in the month of May, or maybe something in June, and then we get back in motion in August. But it'll definitely be something between April and May of this year. I'll be putting something together for the entrepreneurs.
I
Yes,
love it. I love it. Look, I'll be there with bells
yes,
on. You know that.
yes. Mm,
You
mm,
know
mm.
that. I love the platforms that are for the entrepreneurs. And the thing is that people get to come in and not just shop. It's not a job. It's not just about being able to
Yeah,
shop. It's about being able to make those
absolutely.
connections. And connections a lot of times can result in what you really
Absolutely.
need. This is what God put you there for a
Absolutely.
reason,
Absolutely. And
you
I
know?
remember one of my friends, shout out to my girl Dominique. She told me, she said, "Listen, this thing is so much more greater than you." She said, "It's going to be people that you help to bring together that are going to be connecting outside of your events." She said, "This is the purpose of it. This is the core purpose of
Yes.
what God has called you to do." And I'm gonna be honest with you, Thais.
Mhm.
The vision, the vision is to one day have my own building, my own event space. Okay, so that I can really give these entrepreneurs an opportunity to
Mhm.
come in to be a part of things greater than what I can foresee for right now. You know, and
Yeah.
to host
Yeah.
events. So that's been prophetic over my life, you know, and of course I'm like, okay, God, I know I got to get some stuff in order because you are God of decency and order. So that's my prayer for this 2025 year is that I will be able to get my
Mhm.
finances and things in order according to how God wants me to go forward with what He has called me to do. So that's it. Yes,
All right
ma'am.
now. All right, so we gotta talk offline
Yes.
too about that
Yes,
building.
ma'am.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you will, you'll when you get the vision, because because we can want it, for
Yes.
ourselves. And but when it comes, it'll be more evident and clear,
Mm-hmm.
I had a vision in 2019. No, I'm telling all my business today. I had a vision of a building in
Okay.
2019, and I had no idea what the building was
Okay.
for, what it was for,
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Now I see exactly
Yeah.
what the building
Yes.
is, you know. And since then, actually, just last year, I had three people
Mm.
prophesied that I was to have a building.
Yes. Mm.
Okay. One, I was on a podcast. I was a
Okay.
guest. Okay. So after it was over, he said I didn't want to say it, when during
Mm-hmm.
the show. But you're gonna get a
My
building.
God.
You're gonna have I see that you're gonna have a building.
Yes. Woo.
Like I said, three
Yes.
people. Three people.
Mm-mm-mm.
And that's how God
Yeah.
works, and having so we are to make sure that we pray for
Oh yeah.
discernment as to who He puts in our lives. But when you do that, again, be
Yes.
ready, because someone will come, or a couple of somebodies will come and say, "Hey, Tiffany, I see
Yes.
this for you,"
Yes.
or "God told me to say
My
this to
God.
you." you know just like, it's like I said, I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've had two
Mm.
people say to me that I'm supposed to be a
Yes.
minister.
My God.
I'm like,
What? I feel you.
just like my intention was to go to school, not for a master's in divinity. That wasn't in
Listen,
my
I hear you.
plan.
That's in the Lord's plan for Thais.
Exactly. After I got the master's in psychology, I wasn't even planning on going back to school for a while. I said, "Mm-mm-mm, I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm tired. Like, this is enough. This is enough.
Mm.
Let me just continue to figure out what I'm doing with this degree." And then that went on for about year and a half, 2 years, and then I said, you know what? Maybe I'll go back for a PhD because the master's in psychology. Maybe I go back for a
Okay.
PhD, and my intention was psychology. It was psychology and
Oh, okay.
counseling.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so psychological studies is what it was called in
Okay.
counseling. Okay, and as I'm looking at it, I was about to close up the computer. Also looked at um, getting a license in marriage and family
Okay.
counseling. I'm like, good thing, right?
Yeah.
Always needed. And I do, and I like I said, I'm in counseling. That would have just elevated, broadened me in the area and all that, to be able to help more families. But then I'm about to close out the computer, and I saw the masters in
Mm.
divinity. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I'm not fitting to sit
I
here and look
hear
at
you.
this.
Not today. I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing
I hear you.
it. Well, I
Yeah.
did. Next thing I know, I was calling the university in the next couple of
Yes.
days. I even and this is a wild thing too. I even saw what school I was
My
supposed to go to.
gosh.
And then that I saw
Yeah.
that clearly.
Yeah.
I saw that clearly. Because I mean, as you know, you can go to seminary, especially
Mm.
online now. I mean, you can go to seminary any way pretty much you want to
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
But I saw the school I was supposed to go
Mm-mm-mm.
to.
My God.
And after so when I made the decision that I would um that I would at least contact the school, get more information. I call myself getting more information. Look, here we go, being needing to be dragged and
I hear
pulled,
you.
right?
Right. Come on. Come on. I hear you.
after after I did that, I had yet the second
Mm-mm.
person. No, no, no. The first person. It was the first person that I had to say. The first person say, "You're supposed to
My
be a minister."
gosh.
A couple weeks later, I had the second person say, "God told me to tell you you were supposed to be a minister."
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. You're supposed to be a
I
minister.
said,
Yes.
let me go on some of these classes in this school. Stop playing.
Yes. Mm-mm.
But I'm telling you, I appreciate you
Absolutely.
coming on
Pleasure.
today. Um, I mean, this has been
Yes.
therapeutic and spiritual and all of
I
that
hear
for
you.
me, as you can see. And I know for and I know for the audience, and this is what the platform, is to
Absolutely.
give, and so I'm so glad that I heard the
Mm.
call to start the Tyese
Yes.
Show back up, because you know how it is, like
Oh,
life
come on. I
lives.
already know. I know.
And it's not
Come
always the
on.
enemy, right?
Sure
Look,
ain't.
see, I'm learning.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm
Mm.
learning, so but you get to with Kingdom
Yes.
Connections and doing events and podcasts, and there's so much of a pull to get to have these
Yes.
conversations, and to pour into each
Absolutely. We
other,
have to. We have to.
mhm.
We
Exactly,
have to.
exactly. So I know everyone you know that watches this and
Mm.
listens to the podcast in audio form is
Yes,
going to
they
be
are.
blessed.
Yes, they are. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. I think that we were supposed to have connected before, but timing is everything, right? Timing
Mhm.
is everything. So I'm
Right.
grateful
Mhm.
for this opportunity and timing to be able to have been here on today. Just an amazing moment to be able to come and to speak to your audience, and just to allow people to see what God is doing in the lives of others, and just as well as he's doing it for others, he can do it in your life as well. So I think we're in a time right now
Yes.
where we have to stick together like never before. We know
Mhm.
that, my hope is not in man, so we know that today, Trump is back in office. He's going full
Mhm.
throttle with a few things, and listen, hey, we're going to survive this thing. Okay, this is why
Mhm.
some trust in horses, some trust in chariots, but guess what, I'm a trust in the Lord. And we've survived
That's
this thing
right.
before. But God be praised. But let's stick together.
Mhm.
Let's continue to encourage each other, support one another, because we are going to need each other.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Part of the word community is
Yes,
unity.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I'm grateful for
Thank
Kingdom
you.
Connections, and I look forward to your
Thank you.
growth even further, and being able to reach out to more,
Thank
more
you.
people that really need those
Absolutely.
connections, that
And
really need it. I appreciate you coming on
yes,
today.
you.
This has been a discussion of From Pain to
Yes.
Purpose. I'm gonna need
I
a
know,
t-shirt
right?
too.
I'm working on some things. Oh my goodness. And that's just confirmation for something else. So, I'm going to move according to what he tells me to do.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. All right now. Okay, well, thank you again so much, Tiffany, for coming
Absolutely.
on. And the Tyese Show, we do record, but the Tyese Show is on YouTube, and also we are on WMEG Radio, and this is 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. And the you can access through www.rock, Meg, MEG, that stands for Movement Entertainment Group. One, that's the number one.com. And then also we are on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yes.
And TuneIn Radio.
Wonderful.
Okay. So don't act like you can't find
Absolutely.
me. Because I'm here. The Tyese Show. Thank you and
God bless
God
y'all.
bless.